exercise.
These, as you say, they are skillful means, tantric tricks. If you read the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra in the Kashmiri Shaivite approach, it's full of such skillful means, and they're valuable. They are less direct than the approach I'm suggesting. Being aware of being aware is the most direct approach. But that doesn't invalidate these other approaches. For instance, because you asked about it specifically, Jean Klein talked about the front of the head. I think he said it was the factory or the place where the thoughts were located or generated. And if you were now to give your attention to the experience of the front of the head, we would feel that it's a place that's rich in sensations. There's a lot of content there. I, the seer, I, the smeller, I, the taster. The I tends to be located just behind the eyes. So the front of the head is not just I, the thinker, but yes, I, the thinker, I, the seer. So the separate self seems to be located in this dense area behind the eyes. So as an intermediary step, he suggested, give your attention to the space in the back of the head. Just do this now as we speak. Move your attention from the sensation in the front of the head, around the eyes, to the space at the back of the head. And feel that the space of the back of the head, unless you have a headache, is empty. Can you even feel the back of the head? Is there actually a sensation there? The front of the face is vibrating tingling with sensation. But if we give our attention to the back of the head, actually, the back of the head is a synonym for a vast space. There's nothing there. So the attention is drawn from an object that is rich in sensation and feeling to this empty space. Now, if you really give your attention to the empty space, if you try to give your attention to that empty space, you'll find it's not really possible to do so, because we can only give our attention to an object. It's not possible to give our attention to something with no objective qualities. So this empty space in the back of the head is in fact, empty space itself is the finest object. It's almost nothing, but it's not quite nothing. It's space. It's empty space. So the giving of our attention to this empty space is a transition. It's a halfway house before the attention actually dissolves in its objectless source. So it's a skillful means that is given to our attention. Our attention is so accustomed to fixating on objects that the tantric tradition realized that for many of us it was too big a leap to sink the attention directly in its source. So it said, okay, I'm going to give you an empty object to focus on. For instance, give your attention to the space between the breaths. It's another empty space. It's still an object. It's still located in time and space, but it's an empty object. It's a transitional stage, it's a halfway stage it releases the attention from the object, but it doesn't completely sink the attention in its source. So the empty space in the back of the head or between the breaths is like a placeholder for awareness. It mimics the presence of awareness, and it's a staging post for the attention, before the attention sinks into the heart, not the physical heart, but its source, the heart of awareness. There's nothing wrong with these approaches. They've been tried and tested over the centuries, and they work. What is important is not to become infatuated with them and to spend one's entire time giving one's attention to the space in the back of the head or between the breaths, because we're still in objective experience. This practice will relieve the mind from some of its agitation, but it won't give the mind what it truly wants, which is lasting peace and happiness. That is why Ramana Maharshi's contribution to the spiritual tradition in the 20th century was such a complete renaissance. He didn't discover the direct path, but he brought it out of oblivion. It had been lost in almost all cases, and he really resurrected the direct path, he and Krishna Menon. And renewed this direct means, sinking the mind into the heart, which is being aware of being aware. Awareness, aware of awareness. So there's no object for awareness to go to. Awareness only needs to leave itself in order to come in contact with an object. But in order to know itself, it stays at home.